Tomorrow's weather happened yesterday, so we're experiencing reverse precipitation. Rain will unfall upward into the clouds starting at 3 p.m.
We're getting reports that local resident Mike Johnson has discovered he's been the same NPC for 3 years, repeating identical conversations with neighbors.
As you can see, we have heavy cat precipitation moving through the Midwest. Expect 3 to 4 inches of tabby cats with scattered Persian showers.
We're seeing a high-pressure system of existential dread moving in from the west, with scattered anxiety showers and a 70% chance of emotional breakdown by evening.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Mitchell.
Wait, why are there 2 of us?
I think we're experiencing a rendering error.
In tonight's game, gravity was temporarily disabled in the third quarter, resulting in all players floating near the ceiling for approximately 12
Traffic is backed up on the aerial highway due to a 3-car collision at cloud level 7. We're seeing delays of up to 20 minutes for commuters trying to reach the stratosphere.
And that concludes tonight's completely AI-generated news broadcast. None of this was real, but you watched anyway. Back to your regularly scheduled reality.
Tomorrow's weather happened yesterday, so we're experiencing reverse precipitation.
Keisha, this connection is like trash. Fuck out my way, bitch! Oops. Keisha, you still there? I deadass think I hit a pothole. Oh my gosh. Well, that was already, that dent though.
Breaking news. Red Lobster has announced that they no longer will be accepting EBT. Our team is on the ground now breaking this live.
Y'all, this is some bullshit. They bring back the cheddar biscuits and do some shit like this? Be fucking for real. Oh my God.
Are you fucking serious? How the fuck is we supposed to pay then?
Well, I don't think they should have been taking it in the first place, if you ask me. I feel safer here now.
Breaking news. Breaking news. You said hot girl summer, but accidentally caught feelings. More from our investigators now.
Sources confirm that after 3 late-night FaceTimes and a playlist he made just for you, you are now spiraling. We interviewed your best friend, who is currently screaming, "Block him," in all caps.
You once said, no strings, no stress. But now, you're 3 TikToks deep into how to make him obsessed.
Thank you for watching TikTok News. And remember, don't fall for that good morning text. More tomorrow.
All right, we back up in here. It's overtime. Shout out to Saul. Shout out to Saul. Saul hit me up on WhatsApp. He was like, "Fire it back up." All right, we in here. I had to get under that 2-hour mark, man, because I got to put these shows in rotation, and then the AI won't chop up and generate shorts for me off the streams over anything over 2 hours. So I'm leveraging technology here. I get to put a stream in rotation and let the AI chop my stream up and make shorts for me, and it auto posts them to YouTube. You feel me? And I get to auto post to Saul's channel too. That's why y'all seeing so many shorts posted on Saul's channel. You feel me? All right, bet. We're gonna do some overtime. We're gonna be in here for a minute. All right, let's get down to it and put some meat on the bone. We've been wanting and meaning to do this anyway. So let's talk midterms. This is my man Roman over at the Epoch Times. He's one of the best in the building too. Shout out to Saul. This is all Saul's idea. You see I fired it right back. Yeah, news that's addendum. All right, let's set it off right. Irvin Reed. Man, thanks for supporting the stream, bro. All right, we in here, bro. All right, we gonna do some news. I mean, we could do another 2 hours if you guys want. I ain't got nothing to do in Peru. Irvin Reed was a $10 super chat. He said, "You may be done with the news, but the news ain't done with you." Don't treat black male media like a big bag. Bring her kids on the first date. Lock in. That's some funny shit. Hashtag F all you hoes.
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Man, fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Man, fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Man, fuck all you hoes.
All right, bet. All right, let's get into some meat and potatoes. You feel me? Let's get into some meat and potatoes. We in here. All right. Me and Saul were trying to slow walk everybody down to the midterms. You feel me? Trying to slow walk everybody down. So let's this one is called Trump's plan to auto flip 14 House seats using the next census. This is actually a very important thing to let you see how Trump's been playing four-dimensional chess on them before, and why deporting all of these illegals from these sanctuary states are so important. And you'll see that the sanctuary states, like Saul said, the data is where it matters. And you'll see why all of these sanctuary states are not accidental states. These sanctuary states are states where they were trying to adjust the census numbers so that they could get more seats. Right? Is this redistricting? Yes. So every state gets 2 senators, equal amount of senators. But with Congress and the House, the number of House seats you get is determined by census in terms of population. So even these sanctuary cities are not random. That's them trying to hack the census so they can get that's what the Democrats were doing, so they could get more congressional seats and pretty much basically lock in like the party from a dynastic standpoint. And with that change in the census, basically the Democratic Party would have been in power forever. And Trump and Elon and and the people in the Republic were seeing what was happening. So there's aside from the crime and everything, and black jobs with the deportations and everything, you guys better be 100% behind these deportations, because it's breaking the Democrats' stranglehold on the government. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's the Democrats pushing all this black male misandry, got the quiches all out of control and everything else. So my guy Roman, and I like Roman, he's a really good journalist. This is going to break down really what's going on, how Trump got hip to it, and how he's basically, this is why the midterms are important. He's trying to auto flip 14 House seats using the next Slipknot said, "Earth still making it rain." Y'all niggas funny. All right, but this is important. Me and Saul doing the same thing we did with the federal election. We slow walk it. So we're gonna slow walk the midterms down. So let's go.
The U.S. Census. After we've had several years back to back of record-breaking illegal immigration at the U.S. southern border, well, the second Trump administration is looking to make a significant change to the way that the U.S. Census is conducted every 10 years. Specifically, they're looking to end the practice of including non-citizens when counting up a state's official population total. Speaking on the matter just last month, you had the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Mr. Stephen Miller, say the following.
Will you try to exclude all of these illegal aliens that have come into this country over the last 4 years from the 2030 census that this current administration will control and operate?
Yes, absolutely. And the Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, is passionate about this issue. He's taking leadership on it, and he's going to do everything he can to clean up the census and make sure that illegal aliens are not counted. Of course, the best form of exclusion for illegal aliens is to exclude them from the country completely by sending them back home, which is what the American people elected President Trump to do and what we are doing.
Now, Mr. Miller did not mention it in this particular speech, but the ramifications of making that kind of a change would be dramatic. That's because the census count is used in a number of different ways. Firstly, it's used to apportion the number of House.
All right, FYI, this is by the numbers extended. All right. This is a very good idea, Saul. All right, yeah, we got it's what is it, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time? All right, we going on the late night, we're gonna dig in and get some business done. We've been soft shoeing around the midterm thing, so this is the beginning of the full walk down. Let's go. It's the beginning of the full walk down. Let's go. Let's get it. Saul says, Irvin Reed channeling that cash cascade. And thank you for supporting the channel. We got something special for you in the works. Hell yeah. And I'll drop my email again. Yeah, you guys start sending me your email address. Basically, the next 12 months we on a ship merchandise campaign out to everybody. So it's gonna be a slow roll in the beginning, but we're shipping merch out to everybody. Irvin Reed, yeah, you're correct. So basically they are trying to box out like certain groups are doing in IT. Exactly. Kamala and then this guy in New York. Like I said, all these, I'm trying to tell you, noticing all of these Indian guys running for, we're not electing them people. They're trying to get them HB1 visas back up and going. You feel me?
Seats that each state gets. It's also used to determine the number of votes that a state gets in the Electoral College. And then also the census numbers help to determine the flows of trillions of dollars worth of government funds. Those are the three important factors that are determined by the US Census count. And the changes that would come about if illegal aliens were not counted would actually be quite significant. For instance, in the last census, the one from 2010, there was a Pew Research study that found that if the government did not count illegal aliens, then New York, California, and Texas would each lose a House seat, while Alabama, Minnesota, and Ohio would have retained the House seat that they wound up losing. And the same would, of course, hold for the Electoral College. New York, California, and Texas would have each lost an Electoral College vote, while Alabama, Minnesota, and Ohio would have retained theirs. And that's not even mentioning that the states with large illegal populations would have seen a significant reduction in the amount of federal funding that was flowing to that particular state. And so, again, it's worth mentioning that that data we just went through was from the year 2010. However, looking at a graph of the number of illegal aliens entering this country over the last several years, well, it's been completely off the charts. Under the Biden administration, there were 8 million people encountered at the U.S. southern border, with many of them being released into the interior of the country once the Border Patrol was done with them. That's on top of another 1.7 million gotaways, which are illegals who evaded Border Patrol, but somehow we know about them. And then, on top of all that, there's an unknown number.
All right, pause. Y'all see this chart? See this graph? That's the Obama administration on your far. Well, I guess you guys are watching it the same way I'm watching it. On your far left, you see Trump. Look at Biden. Look at that spike. It's different when you see the charts and the numbers, so you actually see what's going on. Like that, Biden flooded this country, and all these people went to these states and cities where they were trying to basically hijack and terraform their congressional, the number of congressional seats they could get.
Or people who just snuck into the country and we don't know about them at all. And so even on the lowest end of the estimates, approximately 10 million illegal aliens entered this country under the prior administration. I've actually seen some estimates that are as high as 30 million illegal aliens living in this country right now, which would roughly be 10% of the overall population. And all these people stand to be counted in the upcoming census that's going to be conducted 5 years from now. Now, it is worth mentioning that during his first term in office, President Trump did attempt to make this change. When the 2020 census was being conducted, President Trump attempted to add a question to it, a very simple question, which just asked the individual whether or not they were a U.S. citizen. However, the addition of that question was challenged in court. It was appealed all the way up, and eventually, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against the Trump administration, and in effect, they prohibited that question about citizenship from being added to the census. But then later, in July of 2020, President Trump signed an executive order to exclude illegal aliens from the calculations that decide how many congressional seats each state gets. However, as was expected, that order was also challenged in several lawsuits around the country by both state and local level governments. And also, even back then,
So even on that information, you see in his first term, Trump was already trying to get things in place in terms of this this 2030 census coming up. What else is important happening in 2030, guys? More than 50% of women will be single and childless. It's going to be a perfect storm of just an avalanche in 2030, especially if Trump gets his way with reapportioning the House with this 14-seat flip. In addition to majority of women, Keisha's included, being over 50% single and childless. Bro, it is definitely a man's world, man.
and there was the logical problem to Trump's executive order, which was if you did not have a question on the census asking whether or not the person was a U.S. citizen, meaning you didn't have that data point, then how can you then later use that very same data to decide whether he or she is an illegal alien and whether he or she should be used in the calculation of the apportionment of Congress? You would basically just have to guess the number. But in the end, it actually didn't matter because once Joe Biden entered office, actually on his very first day in office, he issued an executive order mandating that the U.S. Census Bureau include illegal immigrants in its apportionment. Here's specifically what Biden's order said, again, issued on day number one, quote.
See what I'm saying? On day number one, they came in ready. Also, day number one, because they know they actually lost that election. You feel me? Like they actually know they lost that election, that 2020 joint. So in day number one, they was like, oh, we got to get this in place. We can't lose. We can't, we pulled the okie doke this time, but we got to make sure we got 4 years to make sure that we terraform these states and cities to make sure that we're straight for this 2030 census and that we can lock down the votes.
The Secretary of Commerce shall report the tabulation of total population by state that reflects the whole number of persons whose usual residence was in each state as of the designated census date without regard to immigration status. Meaning, as a practical matter, in the last census, states with large populations.
Yo, you know what? And I'm glad you said that, Irvin. See this, by 2030 is also black household wealth at zero. But from a tax standpoint, what does household mean? That means you're filing taxes, registering as head of household, right? But if 20%, so that even that being at zero, that's primarily Keisha numbers. We already know that 50% of black men are in the middle class and upwardly mobile. That's only going to increase, and we're all trending. We're all trending toward STEM and the trades. Like we push that heavy down here. Keisha's file head of household, but those are single household because they want them tax returns. So that data set they're using is like a mass majority of Keisha's file in his head of household who are single moms. So that number going to zero, that's going to affect primarily the Keishas. You feel what I'm saying? Brothers is actually on the uptick, especially with most of them being single without children. That's on some old no overhead for a black man. You know what I'm saying? For a man, period.
Populations of non-citizens were definitely given more federal funding because of it. And then also, very likely, they were given more congressional seats and more electoral college votes because of it. And to that end, you had research that was conducted by the Center for Immigration Studies, which found that there was a significant shift in the number of House seats because of foreign-born residents. Let me read to you what they found. Although I will just quickly caveat this by saying that in this study, they were looking at non-citizens as a block. They were not breaking those numbers down by legal versus illegal. And in fact, they said that most of the changes that they found in the year 2020 were attributable to legal immigrants rather than illegal immigrants. But they were all non-citizens all the same, which would have been evident if you had that question on the census. Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes or no? If by checking no, whether they were legal or illegal, that question would have been addressed regardless. But that's just to say that this is not exclusively due to illegal immigrants, but non-citizens as a whole. And so this is what they found. Quote, the inclusion of all immigrants, legal and illegal, in the 2020 census shifted 17 House seats. If their U.S.-born minor children who are under the age of 18 are included, the impact rises to 22 seats. This estimate represents the cumulative impact of immigrants, not the changes since the last census. And
so you peep that. So that's the inclusion of them in the 2020 census. So we just passed the 2024 election. You feel what I'm saying? So technically, the Democrats shouldn't even have as many congressional seats as they have right now. You dig what I'm saying to you? You see what I'm saying to you? So they did all this and they still lost the presidency, and they still fell short of a majority in the House. But if based on this analysis right here, with them padding the numbers in the 2020 census, technically they shouldn't even have as many seats in the House as they have right now. You see what I'm saying to you? And that's what Trump and what Elon was talking about, how they're terraforming the environment to have complete control of all branches of government with these immigrants.
Given that the margin of majority right now in the House is only 8 seats, it's obvious why between 17 and 22 seats is so significant. And also, they found that the split was not done equally on political party grounds. Quote,
Bro, exactly. Quiet Storm said, Tito has been predicting this. Democrats are terrified of the next census to look at the population that left the states of New York, California, Illinois, and Colorado because of the migrants and horrible political leaders. And exactly. Bro, we've been calling this straight down the middle 100%, bro. And that's why I was saying, like, these illegals getting deported, that helps. Bro, it's a multi-layered win. It's, the black jobs, the crime, et cetera, with the trades, but also breaking the Democrat stronghold. Like I said, you see what he just said about the adjustment with the 2020 census. So Trump just won the 2024 election. Technically, based on these inflated census numbers, the Democrats shouldn't have as many seats as they have in the Congress right now. Right, and Reed said this goes back to those polling numbers during the election, only for it to be over before it started. That, like I said, this is a once in a lifetime paradigm shift, like election, like Trump. Like there won't be another president like Trump. You understand what I'm saying? Trump is like the right president for this particular time in history. Like, 2 decades prior to this, he wouldn't be right, and probably maybe 2 or 3 decades in the future, he's not going to be the right president. But right now, like, yeah, he's a historical figure, and this is what shout out to Wrench Turner when he said the night that we were covering the election results, and him saying like, brothers, that we on the right side of history with this one. You know what I'm saying? But you know, black men that was down with what we done, bro. We backed the right horse in this race. You feel me?
2020, immigrants in Democratic-leaning states resulted in a net increase of 14 more seats than they otherwise would have, while Republican states had 10 fewer seats and battleground states had 4 fewer. If their U.S.-born minor children are included, Democratic states had 18 more seats, while Republican and
Yo, fact squad. So he said them electoral college numbers will change too. Remember, you need a path to 270. Yo, and remember we did the projected forecasting of Vance versus technically Kamala in 2028, and we see that Vance wins with a significant number of electoral votes. But like I said, with this, if they make these adjustments that Trump is trying to make, we'll actually end up with more electoral vote. We'll be able to get more electoral votes quicker as well, or you won't need as many electoral votes depending on how it goes, which states we win. So I'm saying there's a bunch of power plays going on right now. Trump and his administration, they're up here playing 4-dimensional chess, bro.
battleground states had 12 and 6 fewer seats, respectively. All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment, I'd like to introduce our sponsor and my own personal gold dealer, American Hartford Gold. Don't just affect Wall Street, they affect all of us. Actually hold physical gold and directly to your doorstep, or you can transfer your current retirement account to a tax-advantaged gold IRA. And the best part is that right now, American Hartford Gold is offering too. I'll also throw their information. It'll be down. Proponents of counting everyone, they say that, quote,
all right, I know that was his ad, but I will say I firmly recommend buying precious metals. Silver and gold is my thing. And I mean a lot of dealers and brokers, they'll hold it for you in their vault or something like that. I like to have the actual gold and silver in my own safe or safety deposit box. It has on many numerous occasions saved my ass in a particular situation. I've saw some silver. JT, shout out to JT Coin Rings. He's one of our channel members. He makes great precious metal content. I share his some of his links on the community tab. And actually, speaking of which, I guess I'll share some tomorrow as well. I highly recommend, brothers. And silver is I used to call silver the poor man's trust fund. There's a story. It's a true story. This is from Philly. There's a lot of, I grew up around a lot of Colombians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, second to Lehigh, North Philly. If you're from Philly, you know. But this is back when, like, Washington, you actually have a job as a dishwasher. But there's a story. The dishwasher, and he would get paid in cash, but every time he got paid, he would buy a silver dollar or a silver coin, and he'd throw it in a joint. So basically, he ended up being an old man. He never, he didn't go to finish high school or anything like that. But when he died, he had 2-3 briefcases just full of silver coins. This back in the day when motherfuckers used to put their money in shoe boxes, in the closet. And like I said, that's no taxes, trace it. It's not in the money system. And they, passed it to his sons and nephews and everything like that. So I always call silver the poor man's trust fund. You could just, back in the day, even, what I'm saying, when your grandmother or your mom died, remember they passed you down the good silver? You know what I'm saying? I remember my mom taking pieces of the good silver down to the pawn shop to get some paper. You feel me? That's old school, bro. But think about it. Every said, doesn't this make the Alberta issue the key focus of come midterms? Yeah, International Quiet Storm says this is why VP Vance is playing his position. Exactly. He knows unless something catastrophic happens, whoever follows Trump in the GOP has a clear lane to the Oval Office. Yeah, and but like I say, he's a great lieutenant. Based on how I've seen Vance perform prior to Trump's election, all leading up to, from the moment he was actually picked as vice president to how he performed with Zelensky in the Oval Office, how he's been handling himself overseas, I'm a big fan of Vance. I think he'd actually be a fantastic president. I like Marco Rubio too, but I think Marco Rubio has a chance to, the 50-50 chance he might go rogue, but he's a pit bull and he's vicious. He makes a great lieutenant. Irvin Reed says, anyone notice the jewelry for spots popping up everywhere when we go into Fort Knox or did we forget facts? Or did we forget? Yeah, I know autocorrect be killing us, bro. Be killing us. Yeah, but that's just my PSA. Like I'm a big fan of precious metals. I'll have a safety deposit box filled with gold, the small gold bars, and packed up with silver before I die, and have the lawyer turn the key over to a family member and stuff like that. That's money off the books, baby. No estate taxes, etc., etc.
Since the first census in 1790, the nation has counted not only citizens, but also residents to determine such representation. In addition to citing its long history, defenders of the practice...
Bang, there you go, Irvin Reed, right there. Yeah, that's the other one. I remember Granddad passing on and cashing out bearer bonds because he was a war vet. Yeah, bro, that's the old school money, bro, and it's... A lot of the new financial stuff, they just financial instruments to get pieces of your money and get you rolled back into the tax system so they could tax you on the money. You know what I'm saying? With the estates, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the way wealth was transferred back in the day, couldn't tax so much of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers have been passing houses down generation to generation now. Like now everything is rented. You don't get the house no more when nobody died, all that. But what I'm saying, like, just telling y'all on the bypass, I got a couple brokers. They even got joints now where they just you can set up auto pay. They take send them $100 every month, and then when you get to like X amount of ounces, boom, they just ship it directly to your crib. I mean, bro, I had back and forth, I had 2 safes filled with like silver coins, Krugerrands, silver eagles, small little silver bars and shit like that, small gold bars and stuff. And then, like I said, when stuff start getting rough and the buying shit, I just start sending that shit back to the dealer, start wiring money into my account. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You should definitely have part of your money and precious metals like readily, like in your crib though, not in a safe, readily available. Because like, you know, and when the value of the dollar go down like that silver and that gold pretty much holds its value. I mean, bro, silver been around since the Bible. Christ got betrayed for 36 something pieces of silver. Judas.
Say it is only fair that states should be given the power and resources to represent and serve everyone within their borders. However, on the flip side, you have critics of this practice who say that, quote, the government's powers come from we the people, citizens or eligible voters. They also say that the practice dilutes the representation of American citizens while incentivizing localities to promote illegal immigration. And in terms of an incentive structure, that is accurate. And of course, as we mentioned at the top of the episode, this question becomes a lot more pertinent in the coming census, the one that's going to be conducted in 2030, given the fact that we've had bumper years in illegal immigration. And so this is all the backdrop for what Stephen Miller was discussing. Also, while we're waiting to see what the specific actions that the Trump administration will take this time to either add the citizenship question to the census or somehow sift out non-citizens, it's worth mentioning that there is a legislative solution making its way through the system. A bill that was reintroduced this session, you can see it up on your screen, called the Equal Representation Act. And the bill is actually very short. It's only one single page, and it simply would do the following. Quote, add a citizenship question on the decennial census to require reporting on certain census statistics and to modify apportionment of representatives to be based on United States citizens instead of all individuals. This bill was actually reintroduced during this session of Congress by a North Carolina Republican named Chuck Edwards, and currently it's working to get out of committee so that it can actually be voted on by the full House. And it's worth noting that the chairman of the Oversight Committee, where the bill is currently situated, that chairman is named Congressman James Comer. He recently said in a statement that, quote, American citizens' representation in Congress should not be determined by individuals who are not citizens of the United States. And he added that his committee is planning to move the bill forward during this 2025-2026 session. And so we'll see whether that actually happens. In the meantime, while we're waiting for the Trump administration and this bill to go through, if you are interested to learn more about this entire issue, the arguments on both sides, the legislative history behind it all, and what the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled on in this regard in previous cases, I will throw the links to all my research notes. You'll be able to find them down in the description box below, which is, as I always mention, that same description box right below that like button, which I hope you just smash so this video can reach ever more people via the YouTube algorithm, as well as that subscribe button, which I also hope you smash if you haven't already. That way you can be informed of any new videos as soon as we publish them. And also, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree that the U.S. Census should have a citizenship question? I mean, the argument against it is that there's history behind not doing it, because since the founding of the census, it hasn't been asked. And you know, we're a country of immigrants, I guess the argument is. So everyone should be counted. And that if you begin to include the census, the citizenship question, a lot of illegal aliens will just not answer the census at all. They'll just shy away from it. And so you won't have a broad, true count of the number of human bodies in a given state. But on the flip side, when the census was founded in the year 1790, the first census, you did not have a situation like you have now with just streams of millions of illegal aliens coming across the border with, again, the low estimate is 10 million over the last 4 years, but that doesn't include the number of people who you just don't know about. And so if 10 million people you know snuck into the country, I mean, I personally, this is just my own estimate from my own head, I guess at least 20 million people, an additional 10 million who you don't know about. And so with that type of a situation, should those people be used to apportion something as important as congressional seats, electoral college votes, and literally like $1.5 to $3 trillion worth of federal funding that's distributed throughout the states based on population? I'd love to know your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments section below. Let me know what you think, either pro or against. I'd love to know both positions. And then until next time, I'm your host.
All right, bet. So that's our preview to the slow walk down to the midterms. And that's really a lot of what's behind the deportations, and that's the sleight of hand the Democrats were trying to pull with because everybody's like, why are they letting millions of friggin' illegals into the country? It didn't make any type of sense. And Elon had laid that argument out prior to Trump winning the election, and that's why he was backing Trump, amongst other things. But that's why the midterms are so important, and we need to play our position with that because we back the Trump play. Like, so that's the federal election. Now that we got brothers engaged politically, you know, this is the part of the responsibility, getting some of our policy initiatives looked at and addressed. Do you know what I'm saying? You want to be in the game, you got to be on the board to play. You feel me? Now, let's look at some libs. The libs freaking out about the midterms because they worried. Now that Trump's got this huge deportation going, the midterms are in 2026. This is Dave Carville. They're already starting to spin the narrative that because it's looking like they may not win the midterms, especially with the party going so far left. Like all the they just elected a friggin' communist in friggin' New York. They know the country not with that, so they're already kind of getting the feeling that they're going to lose the midterms. So they're already trying to do damage control, talking about they're already trying to float the narrative that Trump's going to fix the midterm elections because they're concerned that they might lose. And like I said, we're hoping that they lose some congressional seats as well as the Senate, so we maintain a majority in the Senate and in the House, so that way Trump can push through all of this, his policy agendas and the mandate given to him by the American public. So let's play some of this and let's listen to this.
With what they're trying to pull these days, they don't want accountability. They don't want Democrats getting the gavels in the House and the Senate, be able to hold hearings and start impeachment proceedings and so on. I mean, you worry about that, James?
In the short word, yes. In the longer word, very. Okay. And I don't put anything past him.
Yeah, facts. Anti-Semitic commie at that, Saul. And like I said, that's going to backfire on the Democrats because the Israel lobby is huge. The ADL is huge. The small hats got all the money, man. You already seeing all the backlash at the universities. Like, one way or another, they're going to make sure that the Democrats pay for stuff like that.
Nothing. To try to call the election off, to do anything you can. He can think of things like that we can't because we're not accustomed to thinking like that. We always assume there's going to be an election. In your case, how do I cover the election? In my case, how do I affect the election? And we don't think about it. This is a whole new thing. People come to me all the time and say, James, I'm really scared. I said, you should be. You have every reason to be scared. Don't kid yourself.
This is scary.
There you go. That's all the Democrats got. It's fear mongering. Like when you listen to all the Democratic candidates, everyone in Congress, all their talking heads, none of them ever have a policy argument. It's always just like, be scared. Trump's going to kill everyone and it's going to eat your babies. Like, bro, it's no policy talk.
Scary shit.
That's really scary. Yeah, really scary.
Yeah. And he's already tried to steal one election before. So, I mean, what's to say he's not going to try to steal more?
This will even be more because he's seeing this coming. He's going to see this.
Yo, Irva Reed, spot on. He said this Mississippi burning ass ninja. Facts.
Coming. And he's going to try to think of something to extricate himself.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about fire. MSDNC propagandist Joy Reid, who has gone full blue and on, with a new election conspiracy theory that is being pushed on the left, right? Very heavily on the left. They have basically already waved the white flag on the midterms and possibly the 2028 elections because these people are pushing the blue and on conspiracy that free and fair elections in America are over, right? It's over, and that there may not be a 2028 election at all, that President Trump is going to be president for life. And again, this is something that they're pushing on their platforms. And I think partly because they need to say crazy things in order to get views, right? But also on top of that, they might legitimately be this Trump deranged.
Cooking with gas. James Carville, you were on my old buddy Jim Acosta's show, and you said, hey, people tell you they're worried about the midterms, and you say you should be because there's a good chance that Trump will try to pull something. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know. What I think is going to happen is Virginia and New Jersey are going to be Democratic blowouts. And I think he's going to read the election. By the way, there are more people that live in Virginia and New Jersey than live in New York City. And we ought to talk also, we talk about things that happen in New York City. We should talk about we got Sterling candidates also in Virginia and New Jersey. And I think he's going to see this big, beautiful bill is about 25 points underwater. It's going to be 30 points underwater. He's going to see a massive defeat coming, and he's going to try to do anything he can to extricate himself from that defeat. And I would not put it at all past him to try to call martial law or declare that there's some kind of national emergency in the country or anything like that, because the hoof prints are coming. You can hear them, and they're going to get a shellacking.
Who you talking about, Stephen A? Every said that, and this black dude needs to blow his nose and talk from his chest. I like what he's saying, but come on, dog, talk for real, for real. Stephen A. Smith is an opportunist. Like, let's just call it what it is. He was all one. He was full Trump the range, 100% behind Kamala, and then when he seen the tide changing, him opposed to what? D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, Roland Martin. Stephen A. started to move in the direction that the wind was blowing and started making quality arguments. So that means he already knew the whole. You talk about Dupo. You talk about George Foreman. Yeah. Black conservative perspective. Yeah, yeah. I know people be having their little issues with him, but as far as aside from like hyperbole and stuff, pure political analysis, he's been pretty much spot on, dollars to donuts, pre-Trump election all the way through, even calling certain strategy and the way things are going to play out with bills and stuff like that. He's usually pretty spot on. He's got a very solid a strong mind in terms of political analysis. He usually calls it straight down the middle.
In November of 2026.
Bill O'Reilly, do you believe the President of the United States is capable of such perfidy as suggested by James Carville?
Well, after hearing Carville, I'm buying a condo in Luxembourg tomorrow. I'm getting out. Martial law, my God. You're gonna have tanks in my driveway? No, I don't believe that will happen. I'm willing to bet James 18 muffalettas that there will not be martial law. I'll throw in some crawfish and whatever else he wants. And this kind of, I don't know, scare tactic, would that be it? I'm not scared. Maybe Stephen A's a little scared. He's got a little perspiration there on his forehead. But I'm not worried about cheating or anything else. I think that the economy will dictate who wins.
Life can change in an instant. One moment you're fine, the next, well, everything is different. You're left with questions, with pain, with the feeling that you.
That dude's really getting paid off these sponsorships. I need me one. That's called a mid-video sponsorship. That's a prepaid. He got his cash up front. That's all right. Hold on, let me get to this Joy Reid joint. All right, right there. This Joy Reid is a very unattractive woman, bro. And the short, bald-headed blonde thing is not any better.
Scenes, they're dejected, right? That they do not have faith that they can actually beat Trump and that they can beat Republicans. So they're basically waving a white flag and saying, well, the elections are rigged anyways. And if that's what they want to believe, then hey, right, be my guest, because they keep claiming that, well, Trump's going to lose because his bill is so unpopular, which, by the way, it's complete and total nonsense, right? The bill is, quote unquote, unpopular because the media has done nothing but cover it negatively, right? I mean, when you talk about 24/7 negative coverage, not now, because nobody knows exactly. So said that the tax going to lose. Okay, that's what
26. I always add to the end of their that sentence, yeah, assuming we actually have free and fair elections. I think it's insane, honestly, to just assume we're going to have normal elections next year. I don't assume that because these Republicans, let me give you an example. 16 House.
This is why this goofy lost her show. Like, how can you consistently be wrong about everything back to back over? This is why she lost her show. There's going to be no elections next year. Like, the level of fear mongering is outrageous. And like I said, I think she's getting aside from her just being deranged, she's getting paid to push these talking points. There's no way. Like I said, you've already lost your show doing this, so you got to be getting some sort of subsidy to keep pushing these talking points.
Republicans, okay, wrote a letter, wrote down and signed their names and signatures saying that this big billionaire bailout bullshit bill is going to hurt
That's exactly how you should call it.
Yeah, it is going to hurt their own constituents. They said it. They wrote it down. They said this bill is an abomination. It's going to hurt our people. And then all but one of them voted for it anyway. The only one who didn't vote for it, it's not even as if he was courageous enough to.
Saul says she got a pegger fade. That's probably true. She's got to be pegging her husband. He said the short hair blonde thing is the pegger fade. That's funny as hell. Yo, because, bro, who could stand being married to this broad?
To vote no. He just didn't vote at all. So what we had you had Lisa Murkowski, who admitted that this bill is going to gut the very heavily. It's one of the top 5 states for the number of Medicaid recipients is Alaska. Louisiana's number 1. West Virginia is in there as well, but Alaska is way up there. She admitted this was going to gut her people, tried to get a fix for them, didn't get it, and still voted for it.
Yep.
So what you're seeing is Republicans, what that tells me is that they're not actually worried about getting reelected. If they feared being reelected, they would not vote for this bill because they know it's going to devastate their states. Mainly rural red states are going to get devastated. New York will try to take care of its poor. Maryland, California, blue states, Vermont will try to take care of their poor. They won't let their poor die the way that they will in red states. Louisiana, Mississippi, they're going to get devastated, red states. To me, the fact that Republicans are still voting for the bill tells me that they're not actually worried about being reelected. The way Trump is behaving, he's not acting like somebody who worries that his party will lose power, or that even if...
Like, this is her political analysis of all the pieces on the board. She's either stupid, delusional, or this is paid for. Because this is fanciful. Like, there's no way to come to these logical conclusions based on all the moving pieces on the board. Like I said, it's pure propaganda. There's no way that you believe this shit.
The party, even if somehow we had normal elections and Democrats took control of either house of this House or the Senate, he's not acting like somebody who's worried about the consequences of that. This is somebody who is behaving as an autocrat because they don't anymore believe. He said it during the election. I don't need your votes anymore.
It's so difficult to listen to her. Everyone with common sense. That's why I be showing like the everyday brothers, the Wyans and everything, just explaining their take on the bill and everything that's going on political. So we're looking at guys without high school diplomas, guys with diplomas. Everyone can clearly see that Trump is doing everything and rushing to do everything that he said he was going to do on the campaign trail. You could sit there with it and check off the boxes. So the statement that she's making that like he's operating like he doesn't care about the votes that he got because he doesn't need people's votes anymore, that flies in the face of abject reality that he's doing everything that he can to deliver to the voters what they asked for. Do you understand what I'm saying? How is this passing for political analysis? That's what I'm saying. This argument is a paid for argument.
And he doesn't. I don't think Trump intends to leave office. I'm very clear about that. I think he intends to stay in office like Putin till he dies, like Bukele has done, blown past their term limits. Bukele should be out already. He's still there. I think he's going to try to pull an Orban, pull all of these, Xi Jinping, all of them. He's going to do that because he's making so much money now. The grift is so good. He's not going to leave and get all this, let this money go. And I think that Republicans are presuming.
Once again, the reason Trump's operating the way he's operating because he was already billionaire before he came in. He don't need anybody's fucking money. He can't be bought. That's why he's so dangerous. That's also why they tried to shoot him in the head before he became president.
That they're going to put enough restrictions in place that they can't be voted out. So I think it's going to take an extraordinary movement to get rid of them.
Yeah. So, guys, in the ideal world, when these people make these predictions that are going to obviously be wrong, right? Oh, Trump's going to be a dictator, right? He's going to be president for life until he dies, right? Past the next 4 years, that is, right? They should never be allowed back on television. They should never be allowed on News Nation, any mainstream platform. When you make these types of predictions that clearly are not grounded in reality, they're grounded in Trump derangement. It's being said in order to go viral, in order to get the Looney Tunes to pay attention to you. There needs to be consequences. And I really do believe that nowadays you have people that just say the most outlandish stuff because there are no consequences to being wrong, right? Well, again, what consequences will James Carville face? What consequences will Joy Reid face when the midterms come and go and there was no martial law declared? What consequences will they face when there are elections in 2028 and President Trump is stepping down and, a new president is coming into office? What consequences are they going to face? I'm just saying, again, in the ideal world, they should never be allowed on television when you say stuff like this and you're constantly wrong. But to actually address what she's talking about here, her argument is that, well, they're not governing like they care about losing elections, so therefore the elections must be rigged, which to me is just incredibly flawed thinking for so many reasons, because it's not happening. And even if they did, there's no constitutional mechanism as of right now for him to continue to stay in office. I think the real reality here is that President Trump is governing like somebody who knows that the next 4 years are his last 4 years and that he has to push through as much of his agenda as possible before the midterms, because we don't know what's going to happen in the midterms. And if it's not accomplished before the midterms, then there's no guarantee it will be accomplished after the midterms. So yeah, you got to basically, get everything that you can get passed before then, right? Do everything that you can possibly do before then, in order to secure your legacy. That to me seems to be
spot on. Exactly. This is a legacy play for Trump. He technically won 3 presidencies back to back. Elections back to back. He won with a mandate, popular in electoral college. I've read most of Trump's books, and so he's a man of history. Like Napoleon's one of his favorite historical figures. So like this guy's won by mandate. Abraham Lincoln's one of his favorite presidents and political figures, and he wants to be remembered as the peace president. We covered the 1990 interview with him on Meet the Press with Tim Russert. He's been speaking this way in terms of policy for the past 26 years ago. So this is a culmination of him, of what he was talking about 26 years ago, maybe even 30, because we're going to do a 1987 interview with Larry King probably this week, to do a through line to show that he was talking the same policy initiatives. What just happened with Iran, as well as him brokering the peace deal with Iran, with the Congo and Rwanda. So the president of the Congo and Netanyahu just submitted Trump's name for the Nobel Peace Prize. So I'm agreeing with George's call on this. Like this is a legacy presidency for him. And like I always be saying, like we're always like, man, he's getting so much done. It hasn't even been 200 days. It's like, yeah, he's trying to push as much stuff through. In the first 2 years, I used to say this to Saul before Trump got elected. I said, yeah, he's basically only got 2 years. It's a 4-year term, but he's only got 2 years to get anything done. Because he's going to be pretty much like a lame duck president after the midterms. So he's got to get everything done before the midterms, and that's how he's moving. And he's moving like Although we actually may hold on, we may actually win the midterms and hold on to the Senate and the House. He's playing the game like we like, just in case we lose, let's get all this shit done. Spot on. Here, let's load up. That was the piece I wanted to catch. Joy Reid and then Carval. Oh, snap. I just saw this. Irvin Reed with a $20 super chat. He said, listening to listening to her is like accepting pissing on my leg and telling me it's raining. Exactly. You hit on something I highly suspect, like Cardi B's sell BS exactly while living the opposite. Share your Kleenex. Share your Kleenex for this guy. LOL. This is overtime. Yo, man. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, Irv.
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Man, fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Man, fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Man, fuck all you hoes.
Let's do one more.
Why you motherfuckers mess up my order every time I come here? I'm done with y'all. I need 15 Happy Meals, 50 nuggets, and 3 McFlurries. And please hurry, my kids are waiting in the car.
Yo, Quiet Star. Well, shit. Oh, then let's do this then. Since you brought it up, homie, I was going to do what if we at the 102 mark? 102 mark. Actually, we might be able to do both. We at the hour and 2 minute mark. We'd be able to do both. Quiet Storm said, "Did you get the 1980, 85, and 87 interviews I sent you?" Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so all right, well, cool. Since you in the house, we gonna play the. I just brought it up. Is we're gonna play the 1987 Larry King interview. We'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that tonight. Then screw it. Quiet Storm says Trump has been in office. Yeah, exactly 170 days. Now that goes once again. That doubles down on my point that I always make. That the other thing that Trump is a paradigm shift in the public consciousness. He's proof that these politicians and all these administrations have been lying to you. That when they're in power for 4 years and 8 years and they tell you they can't get anything done. And he's been able to get all this shit done in 170 days. Irv said, you going to earn this overtime money according to Quiet Storm. All right, well, fuck it then. All right, then we're going to play these two segments then. All right, we're going to close with the 1987 interview, Larry King, Donald Trump and Larry King, and we're going to follow the through line of him talking the same thing, just 1987, that he's talking right now, and now that he's actually in office, he's getting able to do it. So another big thing that is important with the Trump presidency, like I said about the four-dimensional chess game, is these series of lawsuits that he's throwing at mainstream media. He's reversing the lawfare that the Democratic Party was waging against him, and what he's basically doing is by suing all of these mainstream media's companies, is he's creating case law. He's winning these lawsuits, by the way. But what Trump's actually doing is creating case law. He's creating precedents. These wins. He's suing them for exorbitant amounts, like $1 billion, $2 billion, $10 billion. He doesn't expect to get to win, but he's making them settle. You understand what I'm saying? And so, in the court of public opinion, you settling is basically you're wrong. Them not wanting to go to court and have this long and drawn out when other things come out. But by Trump consistently getting these wins against these mainstream entities, it's creating case law. So, as you know, Trump just won. CBS settled with Trump over the Kamala interview that they doctored to try and sway the election show Kamala in a positive light, which is essential to help her win the election, which is essentially election interference, and it's been stated as much in the lawsuit. So, exactly. Irvin said, "What about these foreign-born owning our homes, houses? What has Trump said about what said he's doing about that?" Well, I know in Texas they just banned people from China and certain other countries being able to buy land and being able to buy land in Texas. So I know a lot of stuff is like a state. I know states still have sovereignty. So, but we know, bro. I mean, the way things have been playing out in politics, I'm really for all this, like cutting down. I mean, we want foreign investment, but cutting down on quiet. So we made CBS cut a $16 million check, but this is Sky News Australia. We're just going to play the beginning of it, but this is the actual edit, so we could of Kamala. Now, imagine if this woman was actually president. Now, with all the shit that went on with Iran and Zelensky flipping out in the Oval Office and everything, bro, we'd be up shit's creek. So let's play the beginning of this because they're going to show the actual answer that Kamala made versus the doctored answer. And you'll see that we dodged a freaking bullet.
In the middle of the election campaign. The New York Post has reported that Harris's answers on Israel were heavily edited to get rid of her garbled response. But don't take my word for it. Watch what went to air and then what was really said.
The work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Well, let's start with this. On this subject, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack.
Wow. Just first of all, listen how clueless this woman is. I've been in job interviews where I got like a question that threw me off, and this is how that response is. Where you're trying to actually comprehend what the question is, and then at the same time search for the answer and then put the words together at the same time. Look how like a deer in the headlights she is.
The Israelis and the people of Israel. And I think that is the most recent example of why what we do to assist in their defense around military aid is important. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end.
Joe. Words. Listen how long and incoherent this answer is.
Need for a deal to be done, which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen.
Just that last piece. She said absolutely nothing. Our movements, our advocacy, bro. And she's still talking. She's still talking, bro. That was a very direct question he asked her. Look how long she was talking. We're going to play that back, the edited version. Saul said they need people they can control, aka Sleepy Joe, or i.e. Sleepy Joe and her alcoholic ass. Yeah, WTF, Saul. Storm said I lost a lot of friends and a few family members because I said I refused to vote for this tool. I will not apologize for it either. Universal Black said something similar to that in the comment section today. Irv says cocaine is a hell of a drug, LMAFO. Oh, bruh. You realize she's still talking, bro. I paused this bitch and she's still talking. That was a very direct question he asked her.
In the region. And we're not going to stop doing that. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Well, joining me now to discuss.
Hold on, we got to play that back. That was to
aid, the need for this war to end around military aid is important. And when we think about that we're just meant to attack the Israelis and our principles.
okay. All right. Look how short the edited answer is, bro. Like you see why he won this lawsuit. Like, look how short the edited answer is, and then the unedited, bro. Like they cut the edited answer down to like what was I'm going to count. What is that shit, like a 10-second answer? Hold on.
Really said.
The work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Well, let's start with this.
Bro, the answer is less than 10 seconds. That's the edit is less than 10 seconds. I'm at the 32-second mark in this video. I'm going to let the full answer play out. The answer they edited is less than 10 seconds.
On this subject, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And I think that is the most recent example of why what we do to assist in their defense around military aid is important. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing.
All right, the answer was less than 10 seconds. The real answer started at the 32-second mark. We're at the 1 minute and 22-second mark. Bro.
Pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done, which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or.
Guys, this is why bro, tell me this is not election interference. The answer that they edited was less than 10 seconds. We started the unedited answer at the 32-second mark. We are 2 minutes and 3 seconds in, bro. That's crazy.
A result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. And we're not going to stop doing that. We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Well, joining me now to discuss is Sky News contributor Koshigata. And
Okay. So I'm at 1. All right, then we'll do 120. 220. So 220, that's like, hold on. 60 and 60 is 120. It's 120 seconds. So 140 seconds. Minus 32. All right. So the edited answer was less than 10 seconds. The unedited answer was like a minute and 10 seconds rounded up. Yeah, that's definitely election interference, bro. That's definitely election interference, bro. Yo, that's crazy. Universal Black said that's that dark liquor talking. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna make this bitch off that E&J. Oh man. Quiet Storm said the awkward smiles between her statements just made her look like, you do believe me, right? my answer, hell no. Yo. Irv said she's straight old school Ripple type biatch. Champagne and Ripple, Champ Pipple. Y'all niggas stupid. Yeah, Irv, this is a masterclass and let them talk long enough. Saul said Ninja's left her alone because she talked too much. And Ninja wake up after the 2 hours later, she's still talking. Bro, this is horrible. This is probably worse than Joe Biden's presidential debate. And Biden shit was horrible. He was glitching and everything. Cripple. So I said, word is she's still talking. Oh, Irvin Reed with another $5 super chat. He said, imagine your bed game not being able to put her to sleep for the night. Yo, that's funny. You know, she gonna bad breath pull a talk your ear off. Bruh.
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Fuck all you hoes.
Yo, and here's an extra.
Riker, my good fortune is your good fortune.
I don't need your fantasy women.
Oh, you're so stolid. You weren't like that before the beard. Very well.
All right, bet. They're giving commentary. We're at the 1 hour 19 mark. All right, let's that's the main part I wanted to show. Because I saw this earlier. And like I think I saw the unedited version before, but when they put them side by side, playing them side by side, you didn't realize how terrible that was. And then when we actually timed it in real time, a response less than 10 seconds, that's definitely election interference. All right, let's load up Trump 1984. Do I have it loaded? Bet. There we go. This one is Larry King. We did 1999 with Tim Russert, Meet the Press. So that's 26 years ago. And when it comes down to it, like I said, Trump's been a public figure for so long. That's why after a while, like all of that, he's a racist shit and all that, that shit, it didn't really stick the way they thought it was going to stick. You feel me? Oh yeah, this is September 2nd, 1987, bro. 1987. I was saying to Saul the other day, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga Trump been like a millionaire since the 70s, bro. You feel me? And like with that racist shit, the old head dude, when I did the everyday man on the ground, black men leaving the Democratic Party, it was like the old head said. He said, man, Trump been around since the 80s. He was like, yo, if he was racist, he's like, you mean y'all couldn't find one person to put their hand on the Bible and say he was racist? The man been rich since the 70s. And y'all calling them racist and all that, like y'all can't find one person? So Saul said, all you smell is curry funk and Hennessy and ganja weed. Bro. All right, let's add this to the Stiz age. Bet. All right, guys, this is Larry King. Quiet Storm sent me this one. September 2nd, 1987. Donald Trump, I don't want to be president. The entire 1987 interview on Larry King Live. Let's go. Bro, Larry King was old in 1987, my nigga. Look at this nigga. This nigga was old in 87.
Trump, the multi-millionaire real estate developer, is sounding more like a politician these days than America's most grandiose and controversial builder. When he disagrees with a matter of policy, he does it in a big way. Today, he sunk $95,000 into a full-page newspaper ad appearing in many papers criticizing the administration's foreign policy. Rumblings in the Trump camp point as far as the presidency. Could the Manhattan magnate be eyeing the White House, or is he just calling a bluff? Are you a Republican, Donald?
I'm a Republican, yes.
So if there were politics, it would be as a Republican.
It would be, I guess, as a Republican, but I don't see that there will be politics.
Why the ad, then? I mean, you said you wanted to say it. There's a lot of ways you can say things. I guess an ad is one way. You could have called up shows like this who would have been trying to have you come on. Why now?
Well, it was very easy. I was tired, and I think a lot of people are tired of watching other countries ripping off the United States. This is a great country. They laugh at us behind our...
Nigga, right off the top. First thing out his mouth. First thing out of his mouth. September 2nd, 1987. First thing out of his mouth. I'm tired of other countries ripping us off. First thing out of his mouth. Yo, this nigga been saying this shit forever, bro. And that's why I've been saying to everybody, like, bro, if you've been listening to Trump or reading his books and all this shit, like, you know, like everything he's saying is not a surprise to you. Like, you're like, yo, he's been saying this shit, bro. First thing out of his mouth.
Our backs, they laugh at us because of our own stupidity and the leaders. I mean, what we have a Persian Gulf situation. You saw what happened today. Billions and billions of dollars are being spent on getting oil for Japan, and they're not paying anything for it. Essentially,
Bro. Yo, he sounds exactly. Yo, you look at his press conferences, all when he was running for president. Yo, it's the exact same thing, bro. Yo, this nigga don't miss. He don't switch up. That's why motherfuckers fuck with him.
they're paying nothing for it. We have tankers going back and forth that our men are protecting, losing their lives. I mean, they're losing their lives, Larry. We're spending billions and billions on protection, and those tankers are going over to Japan. It's just preposterous. I watched the Kuwaiti oil minister the other day laughing as he was explaining how much money they intend to make with the Bridgeton, which has been a total disaster, the Bridgeton. And I said to myself, isn't that a shame? He's talking about how much money they're going to make, and here we are. He's smiling and laughing. Why don't we get some of it? Why is it that we're protecting? We have frogmen, we have helicopters, we have aircraft carriers, and all sorts of ships all over the Persian Gulf, so that this man and his little group can make a lot of money. I think it's ridiculous.
Well, one of the reasons we say we're doing it is because we've been doing it. That all previous presidents have endorsed doing it. I guess the kind of thinking of an entrepreneur is because somebody else said it was right doesn't make it right, right?
Larry, the country is losing $200 billion a year.
Bro. As Saul said, he said this ninja had a 40-year vendetta against him. Bro, this is 1987. He sounded exactly like, he don't miss everything. It's almost verbatim the same stuff he's saying today as president before he was when he was running for president. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like all this, everybody acting like they surprised and everything. Bro, he's been saying this since like the 80s, man.
$100 billion. This country cannot continue to lose $200 billion. Japan is one of the wealthiest machines ever created. Saudi Arabia, and it's not, hey, let me tell you, I'm a big beneficiary of Japan. They buy my apartments in spades. They're fine people, but they're laughing to themselves as to what's happening over here. We're not kidding ourselves. They're laughing to themselves, Larry, as to what's happening with this country.
But Donald, a lot of people feel the way you feel, and a lot of people maybe with as much money, or certainly some people with as much money feel the way you feel. Why did you go public?
Because somebody had to, Larry. I watch it again, and it's a very important point. Japan is a money machine. Saudi Arabia is a money machine. Kuwait, these are money machines, the greatest ever created. The United States is, if it were a corporation, it would be bankrupt. It's losing $200 billion a year. For years now, it's been losing that. What right do we have to go out and defend? Why aren't these countries, these wealthy money machines, paying us for the defense of their freedom and their nations? Why aren't they paying us?
We are kind of the world's keeper, are we not?
I don't believe we should be. I think Japan...
Yo, that's him talking about NATO in 1987. Why are we paying them to defend their countries and they pay nothing? He was saying this in 1987, bro.
Should certainly make a contribution. Japan is one of the reasons that...
I will say this, though. This is not the boy you want holding a grudge against you. He will hold on to that for 40, 50 years until he gets you.
So successful is they don't have to worry about defense, because why should they worry about defense when the United States will do it for nothing? I mean, it's crazy. Saudi Arabia, I mean, you saw what happened with Saudi Arabia. We're going through the Gulf. We have old-fashioned, obsolete minesweepers. We ask Saudi Arabia for the use of their minesweepers, which are the best made, the most modern, the best, and they say no. Who are they to tell us no? We're not going to give you our minesweepers. It's ridiculous. They're only there for the sake of us, as far as that's concerned. We are protective of Saudi Arabia. They should pay for that.
Are we going to be hearing more from Mr. Trump on issues like this as we go along?
I really don't know, Larry. This is an issue that's been bothering me. It's been bothering a lot of people that I know, and I think it's an issue that had to be brought out to the fore. The concept of America financing and paying and losing lives for countries that won't even allow us to use their ships. And these are the countries that in 24 hours, they'd be wiped off the face of the earth if it weren't for America. It's ridiculous.
By the way, a couple of other things, and we'll take some calls for Donald Trump. Is it true that you're going to go to New Hampshire in October at the invitation of Mike Dunbar, who's heading a group called Draft Donald Trump?
Well, I was asked about 3 or 4 weeks ago whether or not, by a very good friend of mine, whether or not I'd go to New Hampshire. That's turned out to be now a much bigger deal than I had ever anticipated. And perhaps, I don't know, I am going. I made the commitment to go. I made the commitment about 3 weeks ago, and I will go, yes.
You will go, even though you realize now, in just stepping foot in that state, people are going to presume things.
Well, they can presume whatever they want. I have no intention of running for president, but I'd like the point to get across that we have a great country, but it's not going to be great for long if we're going to continue to lose $200 billion a year. You're going to get into the early 90s, 1990, 1991, and the whole thing's going to blow, because this country cannot continue to support Japan and Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and many other countries that are much wealthier than we are. We're not a wealthy country. You can't be a wealthy country when you're losing the kind of money that we're losing.
We're a debtor country. A couple of other things, then we'll break and take some calls. Don, why don't, there are some who said this, why don't people like you, you and people like you, build low-income, medium-income housing?
Well, as far as building housing is concerned and low-income housing, I've built a lot of it. I haven't recently, but I've built a lot of it. I built senior citizens housing and beautiful, beautiful housing. I built low-income housing, and I'm very proud of it. The policies of the government right now just don't allow it, because really what's happened by the tax incentives that were taken away and by the lack of federal programs. You used to have federal programs, you don't have them anymore. And it really doesn't allow it to be done on any economic basis. And it's a pretty rough situation. I mean, you just don't have subsidized housing, low income, moderate income housing, and it's a really big problem.
And if they did, you would do it?
I would absolutely love to do it. I'd be honored to do it. I used to do it. I mean, people think of me in terms of Trump Tower and all the other jobs. I'm just as proud. I mean, you folks don't talk about it because maybe it's not as interesting to some people. I am, frankly, just as proud of all the low income and the senior citizen housing I built.
Well, so far, it's the only buildings I've asked about. Casinos, you're very big in Atlantic City. You're going to Vegas?
Well, I don't think so. I'm not looking to go to Las Vegas. I have stock in companies that are in Las Vegas, and I'm not particularly looking to do it. We've done a great job in Atlantic City. I'm very proud of the results. We have...
Yo, shout out Irvin Reed. $5 super chat. Oh, I peeped what you did. He said, Trump, a good friend once told me, don't go to war until you got your money right. So I got my money right. Now I'm ready for war. Shout out to Tupac, and he did know Pac too. That might actually be a true story.
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Man, fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Man, fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Man, fuck all you hoes.
All right, bet. Let's some more of this rock. We're at the 1 hour 32-minute mark.
just about the best casinos, I think, anywhere in the world as far as that's concerned, hotel casinos. And we're very proud of it, and that's really pretty much where I want to be.
What's the drive, Donald, that you don't have to do this anymore, that keeps you wanting to build more and more?
Well, it's a creative process. I enjoy the creative process. I like building things. I like building beautiful buildings. I like doing other things. I've been doing a lot of other things. It's a creative process, Larry, and it really gives you something to do with your life, and it's something that you can feel fulfilled and proud of when you're finished, if you do a good job.
Do you want to break because of what you do? In other words, are you saying to New York and other places, I'll come in and do this, please give me what you will not give someone else?
No, I'm not looking for breaks. I think I probably would have a harder time getting breaks. I mean, you talk about Ed Koch. The man tried to fight me on so many different things, and he's failed. In each case, he's failed, and that's nice. I like beating it. I really get a charge out of beating Ed Koch. And, you know, it's just one of those things. But he's fought me on a lot of different things. He's consistently fought me, and he's consistently lost.
In other words, you don't want more or less than anyone else would get.
I don't want more or less than anybody else, no.
Donald Trump is our guest. He spoke out quite vociferously today in the New York Times and other papers in a major statement on American foreign policy. He's the noted, of course, builder, and we're going to take your phone calls for Donald Trump. Our guest, the famed developer, Donald Trump of New York. We're ready to go to your phone calls. Redlands, California. Hello.
Hello, sir. Comment and a couple of quick questions. I think it would be really a big mistake for the United States to attempt to tax its allies for protection, because that would demote them to the role of a client state of the United States. And secondly, I think it'd also be pretty unconstitutional, because the Congress has the authority to raise armies and support them with taxes for the defense of the United States, not to be hired out as a mercenary force.
All right, Donald.
Well, number one, it wouldn't at all be unconstitutional. And number two, if you're talking about taxing, I'm not talking about taxing. I think that people should make a contribution, and a major contribution, other countries, to this country for what we're doing to keep their freedom and to keep them free and to allow them to be free. And would you rather have that, or would you rather see this country to go totally bust in another couple of years, because this country cannot afford to defend Japan and every other country in the world? It just cannot afford it.
It wouldn't be a tax. It would be more a payment in kind, like for landing space at airports, right?
It would be, you could call it anything you want.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I don't care what it's called, but I think that Japan and all of these other countries should certainly pay. They can well afford to pay.
Donald Trump's our guest. This is Larry King Live. We go to Toronto. Hello.
Yes, good evening, Larry. My question for Mr. Trump, it's a two-part question relating to international trade. Is the solution to the American trade deficit to restrict trade through protectionist policies, or to train American business to be more aggressive and entrepreneurial? And I'd also like to know if Mr. Trump would support a Canadian-U.S. free trade agreement.
Well, I think just to answer your first part, I believe it's very important that you have free trade. But we don't have free trade right now, because if you want to go to Japan or if you want to go to Saudi Arabia or various other countries, it's virtually impossible for an American to do business in those countries. Virtually impossible. And I have many friends, they go over to Japan. They can't open up anything. They need approvals. They need this, that. In the meantime, Japan comes over to this country. They're buying up Wall Street. They're buying up all of Manhattan's real estate. They're buying, which is fine as far as I'm concerned, because they're paying premium prices that put people like myself in a very good position if I ever want to sell something. So the fact is that you don't have free trade. We think of it as free trade, but you right now don't have free trade. And I support anything having to do with Canada because I think they've been one hell of a good ally.
Do you do any business in Canada?
I do a little bit of business with Canada, and the Canadian people are wonderful people, and they're with us 100%, as opposed to many other people in the world. We support so many countries that, I mean, you walk out on the airport and they say, Yankee, go home. They have signs all over, Yankee, go home, and we're giving billions. We don't give anything to our farmers. Our farmers are dying. There's no question about it. Farms that were in for generations and families.
Bro, this is him talking about the farmers in 87. 87. He been calling, it's 2025, and he was calling this in 87. The problems with the farmers. And he's still talking about doing shit for the farm. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, this motherfucker is consistent as shit.
They're being taken away. The homeless are all over the streets of the major cities. The sick and the problems. And yet we'll give billions of dollars in defending countries that have 5 times more money than we can ever hope to have. It's ridiculous.
By the way, if you put up one of your properties for sale, let's say Trump Tower, would the Japanese be at the head of the line bidding for it?
They would be very tough to compete with them or some other countries, some other European countries right now because of what's happening with the dollar and the yen and the mark and the various other currencies. But the Japanese are at the forefront, and it's very, very tough to compete with them in terms of the purchase of anything in this country that's prime.
Middletown, New York for Donald.
Oh yeah, spot on. So he's been consistent except for them Canadians. He gave them the business. Yeah, like I said, this is 87. We all know this is way before all this crazy liberal fanaticism that took hold in Canada and the European countries after the formation of the EU. Whatchamacallit? What's been happening here in the States, and we're starting to see it, is like U.S. got sold and was being overtaken by this European globalist agenda. You know what I'm saying? Which has men in dresses. Like, bro, look at the French, the British, the Canadians. They're like a beta male population, and that's socially engineered.
Donald Trump, hello.
Hi, Mr. Trump. Knowing that you have differences with Mayor Koch in New York, would you be interested in a mayoral race against him?
No, I don't want to run for the mayor of the city of New York. Being mayor of New York is certainly not an easy job, but it's a job that's very possible to be done correctly. We have a man who's not a competent mayor. I think most people that live in New York know that. He's been bad for the city. He's losing a lot of business in the city, and he shouldn't be. And he's really been a pretty big disaster. And I think that probably over the next period of time, something's going to come out where he will not.
Yo, that's his Biden speech. That's his Biden talking points. He's incompetent. He's a disaster. Yo, this dude hasn't changed at all, bro.
Not be the mayor of the city of New York, hopefully much longer.
Should the mayor of the city be someone who knows business?
Well, what we need is competence. We don't have that. We have a one-line artist. That's all he is. And, he's got sort of one-liners that are okay but not great. And that's all he's got going, and it's a problem. It's a problem because we have the greatest city in the world. It's an incredible, incredible city, and I'm proud of the city. And I hate to see the job that he's done because it's really been pathetic.
You have said you have offered to build a huge metropolis on the west side. NBC, apparently, officials at NBC told me a couple of years ago that that's where they'd like to move. And now there are rumors that NBC may leave 30 Rock and go to New Jersey. But I had a top NBC official tell me he wanted to move to your plan on the west side. Where is that now?
Well, I think we have a real good chance. Again, no thanks to Ed Koch, but I think we have a real good chance of getting NBC to stay in New York, and we're fighting very hard for it. We have a very, very good shot, and I anticipate that they'll be making the decision over the next 4 or 5 weeks, and it'll be a very, very big decision, very important to the future of New York City.
Lowell, Massachusetts, for Donald Trump. Hello.
Yes, hello, Larry. Donald, first of all, I want to commend your stand in regards to the other nations should take part in the expense of helping the Persian Gulf. So my question to you is the following. You are a very wealthy man and have many contacts. Why can't you do more for the hungry and the homeless in New York?
Well, I think it's a very good question, and I'd like to. The problem that you have, and you have a major problem, the problem that you have is it's such a big, big dilemma. You really need federal government assistance, not even city governments. The city governments have to be competent, capable, etc. But you really need the federal government to step in. That's why it bothers me so much that when we give this kind of money to the wealthiest countries in the world, and yet for our own people, the homeless, the sick, the poor, the farmers who are really going through hell right now, those people we're not helping. And why should we? I think it's ridiculous. And this country shouldn't be raising taxes. We ought to be lowering taxes. We should have a surplus, not a deficit. Because the kind of money that I'm talking about, and you can call them, as the gentleman before said, you can call it a tax, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But those countries should be paying us major billions of dollars, and you won't have.
Now does the tariff shit make sense? Even talking about these countries having to pay us what they fucking owe us. Like a real New Yorker, a F you pay me New Yorker, since 87.
Any deficits whatsoever, and then we'll be able to help the poor and the sick and the homeless and the farmers and everybody else.
Donald, what were you hearing today after that ad appeared? What were people telling you? I imagine you got tons of calls.
It was unbelievable, to be perfectly honest. I put the ad in thinking maybe a couple of politicians would see it, and maybe they'd say, hey, you know what? That happens to be a great idea, and he happens to be right. We've gotten thousands of phone calls. We've gotten tremendous support. I've never seen anything like it. I have literally never dreamt that this kind of reaction could have happened from taking a newspaper ad essentially saying, hey, we're making a mistake and this is what we should be doing.
West Patterson, New Jersey. Hello.
Hello. I'd like to, hi, Larry. I want to ask Mr. Trump a question about the Japanese. And if they keep on buying up all the real estate in Hawaii and in New York, won't it come to a point where they will be dictating our policy and we'll be afraid to move against them? I think it's almost to that point now, isn't it?
There's a book out, Don, that says that already exists, that Japan is, in a sense, wielding the rope with us.
I believe it already is.
This is 1987. You see this caller calling in? You see how, politically astute and, informed the general public was back then? The type of questions they were asking? Did you notice that? Irving says their counter-tired arguments is always, why don't you rich folk pay for everything? Basic economics, commies, exactly. But like I said, with these callers calling in, especially you see how well informed the public was in the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that, and in part it was because you had quality media like the Walter Cronkites, the Larry Kings. Like it was a just the facts, ma'am type thing. The media was actually doing their job to break stories and really just give the news and keep the public informed. It's not like it is now. Like they're pretty much a propaganda arm now.
It's true to a large extent, and there's no reason for it to be. If we had the right people, with the right instincts and business ability, there'd be no way that could happen. And that's why I hate to see what I see. By the way, I like the Japanese very much. I do tremendous amounts of business with them. They do very well as far as I'm concerned. A man just bought a $21 million apartment in one of the buildings I own.
A what?
A $21 million. He bought 7 apartments, a Japanese man. Wonderful man. He bought 7 apartments, put them together. He's building a $21 million apartment. That's without the cost of construction, by the way. Plenty of money. I like him very much. But they laugh at us. They're laughing at this country and the way the country is being managed. And they should be laughing.
Donald,
they should be laughing.
In a $3 million apartment, if you got apartment 3B and 3A is hanging a picture, you wouldn't hear that in 3B, would you?
Well, hopefully not in the kind of buildings I
Okay,
live
now it's just a little question from someone. Okay,
I know.
okay. Ocean City, New Jersey. Hello.
Yeah, Larry and Donald, how are you doing? I have a comment and a question, then I'll hang up and I'll listen.
Go ahead.
First off, I really enjoy having Mr. Trump here. As a 32-year-old business person myself, I think he is a tremendous role model for young people like myself that look at him and write down their goals and strive to be better. That's the comment. The question is, I've always felt that NATO and West Germany, I mean, we have all those troops over there. I feel that they should pay their way. And then my second question is, and I'll hang up, is what other topic is near and dear to his heart? Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I agree with you on NATO. I agree with you on other countries. I don't want to single out Japan. I don't want to single out Saudi Arabia, but these are countries that people understand the kind of wealth we're talking about. And I will single them out. But there are many other countries and taking tremendous advantage of this, including NATO. If you look at the payments that we're making to NATO, they're totally disproportionate with everybody else's, and it's ridiculous. As far as other causes that are near and dear, this is the cause, because if we can solve this, then we're able to take care of something that I consider to be ultimately of ultimate importance, and that is the homeless situation, that is the farmers, that is the sick. We don't have any money. This country is busted.
This is 1987. He was saying the country's busted. Irvin Reed, you're actually spot on with this one. He said, folks forget that the likes of Rush Limbaugh ran to talk radio because they got ran off of mainstream media. Facts. And so I think there's an analogy to be made about what we're doing down with blackmail media and the rise of the citizen journalists. This is akin to the statement Irvin's making here. Like we're like the new talk radio, you know. Even a lot of the Machismo TV programming, Saul and I said we wanted it to play like radio, to where it was like how we did it audioly. Like if you couldn't even watch the video on your phone or your computer, you could listen to it like radio. And we see a lot of guys, Red Sigma, for example, and the Tevin, they're always like, yo, I'm at work listening to you guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that's exactly it. And yeah, right here. Everybody said this interview could have happened yesterday. That's why we've started reviewing some of these old Trump interviews. Like I knew it because I've been following Trump like before he even ran for president. It was just because he was a good businessman. I was always interested in finance. But it's 1987. He's saying, and that's why we all know that it's all propaganda bullshit. Because it's like, bro, he's been talking like this forever, and y'all never had a problem with him talking like this before. You see what I'm saying? So we're doing our due diligence and good public service announcement type shit with covering these old interviews. One more for the war of attrition against the mainstream media. It has to happen. Mainstream media do not have our best interests at heart. Black men in particular, they've been portraying us as violent criminals since the 70s and the 80s, bro. And guys, we're at the 1 hour 49-minute mark. 2 hours goes fast. Shout out to Saul. This was his idea. He hit me on WhatsApp as soon as I ended the last stream. So this is the overtime edition of the MTV News Desk, the July 8th, 2025 stream. This is the overtime edition. So that's two back to back. I want to thank Irvin Reed, who was actually the stream sponsor on this one, supporting blackmail media. And guys, keeping me motivated to do these streams Monday through Friday. Once again, if you guys are listening, we got a surprise interview on Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be posting the promotion and reminder and premiere information for that interview between Saul, myself, and our guest of honor. That'll be Thursday. I think you guys will all be pleasantly surprised, so make sure you guys mark that on your calendar. Drop by. I want to also say thank you to everyone who's leaving comments under the long form videos. I see you. I'm trying to respond to everybody, helping us get into the algorithm. Urban Reset, since this was 1987, who ran in 88? Was it the Jesse Jackson run? Just getting my timeline right. I'll Google it, but this may have been around the time where he, and to that point, Trump is the one who financed that run. You see what I'm saying? Bro, if you don't know your history of things, man, they can feed you just anything. You feel what I'm saying, bro? If you don't know your history, they will feed you anything. And that's why I think we do a good job over here, like laying out good rational arguments, giving the brothers information just for you to make your own mind up, man. Y'all grown men. We can't tell you what the hell to do, bro. We can't tell you what to do. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. If it was 88, yeah. Yeah, Trump financed that run. So we'll double back on that and double down on that if that is the case. Like I said, guys, this is information for y'all to make your own mind up about. But we're doing our job as Black Male Media, and this is somewhat of a PSA, as it were. Man, we will see you guys tomorrow with another news desk tomorrow evening. I'm going to try and come on between 10 and 11. That's looking like the sweet spot. That's usually when I'm all ramped up and ready to go. But once again, Thursday, we got a special guest, special interview. I think you all will be pleasantly surprised. I'll do the promo tomorrow. Like we always do about this time, I want to say thank you for coming by, supporting the channel, and good night and good luck.
Breaking news. You said hot girl summer, but accidentally caught feelings. More from our investigators now.
Sources confirm that after 3 late-night FaceTimes and a playlist he made just for you, you are now spiraling. We interviewed your best friend, who is currently screaming, "Block him," in all caps. You once said, "No strings, no stress." But now, you're 3 TikToks deep into how to make him obsessed. Thank you for watching TikTok News. And remember...
Breaking news. Red Lobster has announced that they no longer will be accepting EBT. Our team is on the ground now breaking this live.
Y'all, this is some bullshit. They bring back the cheddar biscuits and do some shit like this? Be fucking for real. Oh my God.
Are you fucking serious? How the fuck is we supposed to pay then?
Well, I don't think they should have been taking it in the first place, if you ask me. I feel...
I can't go slow, bitch. My AC don't work.
Damn, Monique. Not my whip.
I dare a hoe to tell me the ice cream machine broke.
A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of dong load. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
Why you motherfuckers mess up my order every time I come here? I'm done with y'all. I need 15 Happy Meals, 50 nuggets, and 3 McFlurries. And please hurry, my kids are waiting in the car. Why you motherfuckers mess...
Sorry.
Hey, where's Stewie?
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it, and we'll do it live! Fucking thing sucks!
In 5, 4,
3. That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.